If I make a mistake, will you be able to edit? Okay. The topic of my research here at the residency at Théâtre de Liège is exploration of urban green spaces and investigating the potential for regenerative design of the city. And this goes for quarters, neighborhoods, and communities. So I'm conducting this research through immersive interviews that I'm having with the practitioners in the area. And I'm also doing field trips to specific locations where the projects that are currently undergoing are located, or projects that have been completed, that have been shared with me. And then I'm also doing other kinds of activities like more cultural activities like museum visits and exhibitions and performances at the theater, as well as street art tours and discoveries of hidden places, hidden green parks, hidden gardens, also the forest, discoveries of forests, small tiny forests. And I have also organized self-curated sound walks around the city. And so, as a method of my research, I chose an approach of urban acupuncture. And in this way, I also connect with the sustainable development of cities and communities. And urban acupuncture is a bio-urban theory that takes the city, the skin of the city, and suggests possible micro-interventions. All with the goal of urban regeneration in the city and micro-movements, how this relates to the city scale. And during my 2-week immersion here in Liège, I had the opportunity and privilege to meet with so many amazing urban practitioners and also grassroots representatives of grassroots organizations and activists, as well as cultural actors and artistic creators in the area. And I got to have discussions and conversations with them around more or less 6-7 different topics around green zones that I was interested in exploring. So the questions that I was posing to them were more related to public participation in green parks and in green zones, parks, gardens, and other types of spaces. Then how we could build a more regenerative future in the city of Liège. Also, what needs to be addressed more in the future, what elements need to be tackled with more care in Liège. And I was very curious to hear what designing with and for nature means for them at this particular moment in time, because it's so different now that we're coming out of pandemic as it was before. And questions around replanning, how they would replan their own city. And it was interesting to hear these experts speak their views, and particularly those who only professionally work in Liège. They are not originally from here, they don't live here. So it was interesting to hear their perspective both as outsider and insider. So I was meeting all these people mostly in their headquarters, which means that the locations are practically scattered all over the city. And I had this incredible opportunity to get to know different neighborhoods through this. And this provided a solid basis for the research that I then conducted. I placed focus on 3 nodes of research, one being the territory, the citizens and movement. I call it movement. And the territory engages more with examples of exploration around working with nature and projects ranging from redevelopment of brownfields all the way to biodiversity experiments and everything in between. And then citizen node relates more or less to activating and engaging citizens in participatory process of creating green zones in the city. And the movement is more about artistic and cultural activation of urban green zones. So all these three nodes are interrelated, and they also spread outwards. And basically, I wanted to design a kind of urban acupuncture network of for spatial implementations. And it was also interesting also because from this perspective of seeing the city like a temporary visitor, I had not only the city central part and different neighborhoods, but also I had an opportunity to witness the university campus being outside of the city, 7 kilometers out, in a big, large green space, following the model of university campus infrastructure from US from the 60s. It was interesting to see all this. And what's coming next? Well, now my residency is finishing on Sunday, and I will continue with processing information and huge amount of resources that I was able to gather during my time here in Liège. And I will produce a research report on the interviews that I conducted. And then ideally come up with the plan for the game. There are some snippets here and there already emerging, but I don't want to say anything more at this point. I would just like to finish by mentioning a tiny little poem or a thought that I just saw yesterday at Serre de Jardin Botanique. And it goes like this: Qui plante un jardin, plante le bonheur. So thank you, the team at the Théâtre de Liège, for welcoming me in your midst for these 2 incredible weeks. I had the most fun experimenting and doing research with you all, and I look forward to the next steps.